If we search for the roots of art, we will encounter magical thinking. Numerous jewels from different eras and cultures show that in archaic societies, jewelry was believed to have powers that protected the wearer from evil. The ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras called the universe the cosmos, after the Greek word cosmos for jewelry, to describe the beauty of the stars shining like diamonds through the holes of the black velvet textile with which gods covered the sun. Jewelry can be seen as a tiny piece, a particle of the cosmos we carry with us. This cosmos is represented by the stones, metals, and other materials, as well as by the elements of wood, fire, wind, water used to make jewelry. Our wish to connect with a broad international public and to make art lovers understand the history and potential of jewelry led us to record our exhibitions, performances, lectures. The medium video introduces the public to the artist's world, concepts and thoughts. Jewelry not only serves as a starting point for personal stories, but also as a cultural catalyst that can change social values.
We started together in 2011. We started doing public art projects, performance in collaboration
theaters,
with institutions, with museums, commissioned works, and we found out that working in the section of contemporary jewelry could be an interesting field and introduce into this field our experience from visual arts and performance. We organized more than 20 curated shows
for the SMCK week in Munich, in Sierrad, in Leipzig in the Grasse Messe, in the Federal Environmental Agency in Dessau, in Berlin in the Fund Gallery, in Hamburg in another gallery. Right now, every jewelry show opens with a performance. When we started, when Christoph held his performance in Berlin, Fritz welcomes Greece. It was a group of Greek artists, and Christoph developed a very funny performance about Friedrich of Prussia, Fritz in German, to welcome this artist to Berlin. At the time, people, visitors, and the artists themselves were partly shocked that an artist performs at the opening. It was in 2013. There is a channel missing between contemporary jewelry and the rest of visual arts. And we thought that this is a challenge to bridge this gap.
What inspired us using a language? What forces, encourages, urges us, recalling ancient connotations, fading away in negotiations of any importance?
SMCK on Reel, the first international video festival inspired by jewelry and wearable art. presents video works in the context of rapidly changing social and aesthetic values. More than 120 international jewelry artists, designers, art institutions and collectives participated in SMCK on REEL 2022, 23 and 24 in Munich, Vilnius, Bucharest, Leipzig, Hamburg, Timisoara, European Capital of Culture, Meli Jazz Festival, Greece. SMCK on REEL is a project by SMCK magazine. The video festival was founded by Lucia Richards and Christoph Ziegler in 2022.
Everyone can make a video nowadays. There is no restriction because of the technical equipment that's required to shoot a video, or the software or technical devices needed to edit a video. Everything is at hand. You can even shoot your video on a smartphone and you can cut and edit it and then publish it. And this is an amazing opportunity to use this kind of medium and share it with a much broader audience.
Many contemporary artists ignore or they don't have any interest in film. Film, a popular form of entertainment, amusement, is not known to them.
But I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive jewels.
And we thought at the time when Zoom meetings, online meetings came up, that this is the only way how to communicate personal ideas, personal situation, personal stories. Many artists made during the pandemic, and we thought video on screen would be more interesting if it's not only about meeting in the online space, but also adding something that is more prepared than just a live meeting, something that would be a story that could explain the work of the artist.
I should add that in March 2020, we were about to launch our show during SMCK, the Jewelry Week of Munich, and the lockdowns forced us to postpone, so we postponed the show for November. It did take place in November 2020 during the second lockdown, and in the meanwhile we decided to keep the team going because of course we were scared by the news and people were also perplexed about what is going to happen. So we decided, if you remember, to ask participants of our show Polemos, War, that's also a prophetic show, to write down or to draw the stories that made them do the jewelry. So they made comics.
We didn't know what effect the comics did have on the participants. We just saw it when they sent us their stories, their comics. They were very moving, very personal. They opened up something on a very private and intimate level. Some of the participants tell us that they really didn't expect they would talk about those things because they thought about the jewelry object they sent us and not about the story behind it.
My work is based on recycling. Recycling in the sense of bringing a forgotten thing back to life, giving it a new value, and changing its use or its original function. All objects and materials I use have their own past. They have a story to tell. The story of the people who made them, owned them, or used them. I see these objects as relics of the people whose memory has vanished. In Greece, where I live, the children of many families migrated somewhere else for a better life. The parents were left behind, they died, their homes remaining abandoned for decades. The past of these ordinary people can still be traced today through the objects, personal items or fragments which I find in their abandoned houses. Commemorating the legacy of ordinary people, the people who sustain societies with their work, values, struggles, is in my opinion a highly political act.
This material, the name of this material is silica aerogel. It is used by NASA for the insulation of spacecrafts. What I made, it was simply to think if we can use it in design and in visual arts. So I tried to investigate the material and see it in a different way, not in a scientific way, but more creative way. And what I found is that this material looks like a piece of sky. Look at this. It is blue with black background, but if I put it in front of a clear background, it looks orange or transparent. When you use this material, it is like you are working with nothingness. You have in front of you something to mold that is 99% nothing and 1% something, glass. But this nothingness is like a piece of sky. For me, and Bousseron shared the same vision, it was to work and to create a jewel out of sky.
The most important function of contemporary jewelry art is to communicate a certain kind of a personal artistic idea. I think that jewelry has a very little influence on contemporary art, but I can see that jewelry has taken a lot of inspiration from contemporary art. I miss the challenge for our field to be taken seriously as a contemporary art form. This could change, maybe being better in communication of our artistic approach. I wish more fine art galleries would show contemporary jewelry art and that our field is just as important like any other art form.
There's a really interesting overlap at the moment between fine art and the art of adornment on the body. We're seeing the use of reflective decorative materials, often associated with craft, fashion and jewellery, in galleries. I'm thinking specifically of the extraordinary work of American artist Nick Cave and his intricately decorated sound suits, and Hugh Locke, the British sculptor whose procession at Tate Britain in London was until very recently mesmerising audiences in London with his narratives of Black history. And these artists jump to mind as they are exploding and expanding ideas about what is fine art, what is decoration, how we insert beauty in the body into these discourses. And This territory is territory that contemporary jewellery artists are also exploring, and there seems to be an interesting opportunity for contemporary jewellery to join in this dialogue, challenging ideas about whose stories we see and which kind of objects should be on display in our art institutions. And this is a dialogue I'd really love to see.
Wie entscheidet eine Jury, subjektiv oder objektiv?
Die Jury versucht schon etwas auszuzeichnen, was künstlerisch, technisch, also in allen Bereichen ein hohes Maß an Eigenständigkeit hat. Und da gibt es dann schon Unterschiede bei den sehr, sehr guten Arbeiten, welche sind komplett eigenständig, das heißt, die sind in ihrem Gewerk so noch nicht gewesen, nach Wissen der Jury.
Also wenn ich diese Frage subjektiv, objektiv höre und dem so auf den Grund zu gehen suche, dann klingt für mich so ein bisschen auch dahinter die indirekte Frage, wie kann ich das anwenden? Also kann ich sozusagen, wenn ich weiß, wie eine Jury tickt, die Arbeit auf eine Jury hin machen oder so etwas?
Wir haben durchaus dank der technischen Informationen abfragbare, objektivierbare Kategorien oder Informationen, über die man sprechen kann.
Ich habe mir da im Grunde 4 Punkte zurechtgelegt. Wenn die zusammenkommen, vernünftig in einem Gegenstand, dann ist die Basis dafür da, dass was Gutes entstehen kann. Materialkonstruktion, Ästhetik und Erscheinung. Ästhetik oder Erscheinung und Funktion. Also Erscheinung und Funktion, der Gegenstand verspricht von seiner Oberfläche schon, was kann er als Funktion leisten. Das Material möchte gerne eine schöne, passende Konstruktion haben, wo sich das zusammenfügt. Und im Grunde, wenn diese 4 Parameter eine überzeugende, in sich schlüssige Einheit bilden, wenn sie ein Ganzes bilden, von dem man nichts wegnehmen kann und nichts hinzufügen braucht, dann fängt für mich der Gegenstand an zu funktionieren.
Was ganz wichtig ist, ist ja auch ein Erfahrungsschatz, den man über die Jahre ansammelt, weil man ständig ja auch vergleichend schaut, warum ist das eine Stück besser als das andere. Das fängt schon mit der Technik, mit dem Material an. Ist das Material denn richtig für die Funktion, die das Objekt am Ende übernehmen soll? Wie ist das Material in Szene gesetzt?
Wenn ich an die Dinge denke, die ausjuriert worden sind, da muss ich sagen, da waren viele Dinge dabei, die waren handwerklich sehr, sehr gut, aber sie waren einfach nur gutes Handwerk zum Schluss. Da ist dieser Mehrwert, was jetzt die Gestaltung anging oder was die innovative Kraft des Stücks anging, halt nicht in dem Umfang zutage getreten wie bei anderen Arbeiten.
Wenn man selbst versucht, gute Dinge zu entwickeln, dann ist die einzige Möglichkeit, nach meiner Wahrnehmung, sich darum zu kümmern, festzustellen, wo gibt es diese Verbindung zwischen Ästhetik und meinem eigenen Empfinden und wo gibt es diese Verbindung nicht. Das ist eine Grundlage, da sage ich, okay, da wirkt nichts additiv, da wirkt nichts parasitär, da wirkt nichts schön hinzugefügt oder extra verkünstelt ausgeführt, sondern das ist eine Grundlage. Und das ist eigentlich das Erste, was ich versuche bei so einem Juryrundgang festzustellen, auf welche Gegenstände trifft denn das zu?
Wenn man wirklich drum kämpft, alles gibt, um wirklich das beste Stück, was man unter diesen Einreichungen findet, tatsächlich rauszufinden. Das ist ein Zusammentragen von dem Wissen von allen, weil man ja als Einzelne gar nicht alles wissen kann. Ich brauche den anderen als Gesprächspartner. Das ist ein Austausch. Und es ist ein Ringen um für den Auslobenden auch die besten Stücke rauszupicken.
Die Methode des Miteinander drüber Redens, genau hinschauen, genau zuhören, die eigene Meinung nicht für absolut halten, seine Meinung nochmal revidieren, nochmal fragen, nochmal schauen. Das führt zu der Schnittmenge, die es ja am Ende ist, wenn man sich dann doch auf einen Preisträger einigen muss.